When are you going to get off that milk diet, lad?
This is vodka.
Where I come from, that's soda pop. Now, this is a drink for a man.
Scotch.
Aye.
It was invented by a little old lady from Leningrad.
More?
All I have is a bottle of very, very, very old Scotch. Whiskey!
Well, I will try it.
I'll get it.
Where's McCoy? He went off to create something called a mint julep.
Who wants to counteract paradise, Jim boy?
Oh, we're live. What's up? Hey, everybody. So we're doing another stream. This time it's going to be cocktail themed. So I have a couple of cocktails I already made. I'm going to make a third cocktail later, but let's bring in the guests. So without further ado, this guy needs no introduction. What's going on, sir?
How's it going, brother?
Ready to have a good time, to drink, and to once again prove that Drunkporial is a myth.
Sure. and the mainstream media gives you the truth.
The opinions of the individual do not reflect the views of the panel or the chat.
Man, that occurred early this stream. Wow.
So right, yeah, Nathan, thanks for being here. And without further ado, this gentleman had a crazy week. So let's introduce Mr. Pips.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me back on. I'm looking forward to having a few adult beverages after the week that I've had. But hey, good to see everybody in the chat. Thanks for having me on. Nate, always a pleasure to see you. And
you, sir.
I think Slanjava, it's time to drink, I think.
Yeah.
Amen.
So what are you guys drinking? What is going on?
Well, Nate, do you want to introduce yours first?
Sure, I can do that.
Need a spoon.
This is my first attempt at a hot toddy.
Ooh, I make those all the time.
Yeah, I had one when I was down in Kentucky at Castle and Key, and their rye is such a very different rye. It's horrible on its own, but mixed in with stuff, it's really good. And so I figured, well, I'm going to make one, and I'm going to, with my rye mixer of choice, Wild Turkey 101.
That's right. You are a turkey man.
I am a turkey man. They're rare breed, the 101 series.
So
not to be mistaken with Old Grouse.
For the late Poriel,
Yes.
and especially the one in this panel that does not know shit about alcohol or cocktails, what is a hot toddy?
So a hot toddy is 2 ounces of boiling water, an ounce and a half of bourbon or rye, which I went with the rye, a teaspoon of honey, and once you get those 3 mixed and put together for about 5 minutes, then you add in 3 cloves, a cinnamon stick, a pinch of nutmeg, and a lemon slice.
Ooh, oh, nice.
So, and there are variations on this.
There are variations. I would say the clove, really the cinnamon stick is the thing that's necessary. The cinnamon stick and the lemon and the honey. I think the 3 of those are what makes the flavor happen. That's it. I will say, I usually make them for my wife. She is of a United Kingdom persuasion. Unfortunately, she's a foreigner, and so I throw a tea bag in for her, and I will admit, begrudgingly, it tastes better with the tea.
Is it Earl Grey for our Trek fans out there?
Actually, I don't think hers is. It's just English tea. I don't remember which brand she uses, but I don't think it's Earl Grey, because Earl Grey, they add the bergamot and some spices and stuff in it, and I don't think it has that in it. But,
So you're like standard English breakfast then type of deal, black tea.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
All right.
Black.
And these are apparently very medicinal. So like people, when they have sore throats and aren't feeling well, you have one of these and you're usually pretty good to go for the rest of the day.
I'll definitely have to keep that in mind then.
That was.
I think I'm going to after having a sip.
That was the COVID remedy of choice, right? There's actually some actual.
This is the COVID remedy of choice.
There actually is some scientific data to suggest that the combination of honey, which is a natural sort of antimicrobial, fights infection kind of stuff, the caustic kind of lemon juice, the whiskey, obviously, all of those things affect to kind of clean the stuff that kind of clings around your throat and back of the throat and sinuses, things like that. And then the heat is good for congestion, stuff like that. So it actually does apparently legitimately alleviate the symptoms. But
yeah,
good for sore throat, exactly.
Yeah, I will say it is mighty delicious. I'm enjoying the clove element in this. I will probably have to give it a shot with some tea next time, because I am a big fan of some Darjeeling. So that sounds like it would go really well with this.
After making it for my wife for the last couple years with tea, I can't go back to a hot toddy. It's missing the sort of complexity that the tea kind of brings to it, and it's nice.
Nice.
So what about you, man? What about you, Pips? What are you drinking?
Similarly, on the hot beverage train, this is the Pips Original Signature Irish Latte. It is made by having a double shot of espresso, followed by a normal pour of steamed textured milk. However, the steamed textured milk is about a quarter of the volume, and the rest of it is Bailey's and your Irish whiskey of choice. So it's about 2 shots of Irish whiskey, 2 shots of Bailey's, a splash of milk. You steam and texture it together, and you are left with this layered wonderfulness. It's kind of settled a little bit when it first pours in. It kind of looks like one of those cat's eye marbles. It's all striated and it, the cream kind of rises to the top, but man, the Bailey's naturally sweetens it with everything that's in there, and it kicks like a horse.
Yeah. Yeehaw.
That's my no, not exactly that, but I just love to have a good coffee with Bailey's at the end of going to a restaurant, getting that for dessert. It's just perfect. So
Trip, don't tell me that you didn't just hear that description and say that you need to buy stock in whatever company I'm selling these in.
So for me, I've never made a cocktail before. So I actually went to the store today, bought a whole bunch of stuff. I bought this little measurer. I bought a shaker right here.
So what you're telling us though is that the things that you're making, these are virgin cocktails.
Sure. Why not?
What is it called though, Nerdporeal?
It's you
gotta get your terminology if you're gonna be a friggin' whiskey and cocktail snob.
Right.
Lemon juice. Measuring stainless steel thingy that I don't know.
Do we want to?
It is called a jigger.
A jigger.
Whether or not we
that's what. Okay. Oh shit. That's a jigger. All right.
Yeah.
And
it was the real answer in
remember,
Wheel of Fortune on South Park.
Yeah.
That was people who annoy me.
Yeah, naggers.
Nag. People who nag.
You're that nagger guy, aren't you? Shit.
And the algorithm.
Oh, that was when South Park was good.
deleted the stream. The algorithm just scooped you up. It just.
So I am drinking here. I made myself a mint julep, McCoy's drink of choice, in the episode "The Side of Paradise." So here we go. That was the clip that I used for this.
Nice.
So what did I put in
it?
here? So I put in. I put this bourbon, Four Roses. That was my bourbon. I put
Always
a little.
good choice.
Put in some bitters, a couple dashes of bitters, and I put in some what do you call it? Simple syrup right here.
Yep.
And the mint, and I
way to
put
go.
some. I put mints in. I just simply shook it. I didn't. What do you call it? Where you mash it or something? I forgot what they call that.
Yeah.
Muddle. I didn't muddle it. So, like, it's so funny. Like, every video or every recipe I see has everything is totally, like, nothing is the same. Like, everybody has their own opinions on what to put in and what not to put in. Like, I was reading message boards saying, like, oh, Kentucky people do not put in bitters in their mint juleps and everything. And I was just like, damn. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But I already bought the bitter, so I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just put it in, and I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna see if I enjoy it. So I got a spear in here too. So
Ed Salty is saying you can't go far wrong with Four Roses in the mix. So
yeah, Four Roses is his like, he sent me his because he bartended. He sent me his recipe for a couple versions of old fashioned and Manhattan. I was considering making a Manhattan, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna make one. Maybe some other time, perhaps. But yeah, so let's see if this tastes like good. I haven't even tasted this yet. So yeah.
Well,
So
maybe McCoy. Maybe McCoy's not a bartender; he's a doctor. Damn it.
Well, yeah, if you remember, sometimes the person will tell something to his bartender they'll never tell his doctor. That's a quote directly from the Cage, from the pilot of Star Trek. So, and that's where the McCoy Kirk dynamic came from, was from Pike and Dr. Boyce in that episode. So yeah.
I will say that I'm a fan of a mint julep. I don't think I've ever made one at home, but it's a nice summer cocktail.
So, what were you saying? Are you saying I'm trash for making it at home?
I'm saying you're fancy. That's when I make cocktails at home, I typically make almost exclusively old fashions. I mean,
yeah, I've never made a mint julep, so I'm drinking this right now, and I have no idea if this is how it's supposed to taste. So
my problem is that I don't keep any alcohol except for whiskeys. So it's hard to make a lot of cocktails when you just have 17 bottles of different bourbon, scotches, and other whiskeys.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to make a good drink. It's hard to make a varied cocktail menu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how you guys been? How you guys doing this week? Like, you guys do anything?
Oh.
Well, watch anything interesting? Find out any interesting news? Apparently, I just found out the ending to the Indiana. I watched the video. It was completely like the ending of the new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, who cares?
I had zero intent to watch it. So, anyone in the chat worried about spoilers for the Indiana Jones movie?
There's barely anyone in the chat. I think everybody
I find
left.
it hilarious that a lot of people in the press are referencing another Indiana Jones movie that I have refused to see as well as, wow, and we thought that one was bad.
I didn't think it was. I didn't hate it when I
that
saw.
One only had Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I didn't hate the movie, despite the fact that Shia LaBeouf was in everything at that time, 2008. But I didn't feel the same excitement, and it just. And then they CGI'd a lot of it. Like, they didn't even go overseas to shoot at location like they did with the original films. So, and then of course there's a great South Park moment where George Lucas and Steven Spielberg rape Indiana Jones, take turns raping Indiana Jones. I mean, draping. Sorry.
Yes. Well, the when that movie came out, I heard about the fact that they were bringing space aliens into it towards the end, and the minute I heard that, I'm like, "Up, done. Not even going." This is just. I'm not going to put up with it. It was just. It's all like a stupid, silly cash grab, when they had a phenomenal ending to the series with Last Crusade. And
yeah, they literally ride off into the sunset. I mean, all Marcus, Sala, Indy, and his dad, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
The reason why Sean Connery wasn't in Star Trek V was because he was in Last Crusade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
good call.
In Star Trek V. So in Star Trek V, the paradise, the paradise to the Vulcans is called Shakari. Sean Connery, Shakari, you know. So like they wanted Sean Connery and they couldn't get him. So they had to settle with Lawrence Luckinbill, Lucille Ball's son-in-law. So, and Lucille Ball is like, you know, she's the godmother of Star Trek in general. So, but yeah, Last Crusade, Last Crusade was the one Indiana Jones movie of the original trilogy that I was actually alive. I actually think I remember seeing in the theaters. It was 89. So I think I was really young, but Indiana Jones was something my parents really liked, like a lot. Like we had the my dad had the VHS of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he recorded on HBO Temple of Doom. So the first movie I saw when I was real young was, my earliest memories was of Temple of Doom. So seeing like, you know, seeing him in the James Bond attire, you know, taking on, you know, drinking the poison and fighting to get the blue antidote and everything. Like that's my earliest memory of Indiana Jones. This is way before I ever heard of, you know, James Bond or even Star Wars. Like I didn't see Star Wars until my folks actually, we had Indiana Jones in the house, but my folks never owned Star Wars. We rented Star Wars when I was a little bit older, and that's how I first saw Star Wars. So, and I was like, wait, is that the same guy that plays Indiana Jones? I was 5 or 6, and I recognized Harrison Ford. I was like, wait, is that Harrison Ford? He looks different. So, yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, like I've seen Temple of Doom. I'm not really terribly fond of it.
Not fond of ripping people's hearts out and then throwing them into a lava, like into a cruel burning lava death, you know?
No, that part doesn't necessarily bother me. I don't think the story's as good as the other two, because there are only 3 Indiana Jones movies made. But the biggest problem that I had with it is one of the most annoying female performances of all time in movie history, with Kate Capshaw screaming Indy over and over and over again. I mean, it was just intolerable.
Oh Jesus, you have no idea. Like she was insufferable the entire movie.
Oh.
So when bad shit happened to her, it was funny because, I mean, the whole time they're jumping out of the plane. She's just one constant scream. Like no, like not even taking a breath, just a single constant scream as they're literally falling. They're in free fall, just holding onto a raft.
Yeah,
it's so stupid. Now that I think about it, it's so stupid. It was hilarious when I saw it though. And then you have freaking Short Round in the movie, and he's got like a brick like tied to his foot so he can properly drive the car. He's like, oh my god, there's a kid driving the car. So like you think it gets ridiculous, and it gets even more ridiculous, and then more ridiculous, and that's what that. And then they're on a bridge, they're on a straw bridge. And he has to cut the bridge in half in order to escape the bad guys. It's just so ridiculous. Well, when you really think about it.
Yeah. So I mean,
like, oh my god, you're not going to do this, are you? It's like, I am.
Yeah. But the other 2 movies were just so solid in terms of just storytelling, pacing, acting was great. You know, and the 2 Connery and Ford played so well off of each other in that movie. that it was just really, really fantastic.
Yeah, like Raiders, like he starts off as just a simple, like kind of like starts off like a thief and everything, just raiding temples and everything, gathering, foiling booby traps and trying to come out with like in the beginning of the Raiders, you get the idol and everything. Well, then he gets sent to get the Ark of the Covenant, and I mean he wants that Ark of the Covenant, but he decides at the end of the movie, no, he decides not to. He decides not to blow it up. Decides to, and then he shuts his eye, and he just shuts his eyes. Him and Marion shut their eyes, and they live. Their eyes don't get melted as a result.
They don't make like wax candles.
Oh, when I first saw that, dude, when I first saw those effects, I was like, what the they had to. So they were I may or may not have done a retrospective on Raiders of the Lost Ark, but they would have gotten an R rating had they not put a flame in front of Belloc when he blows up, when his head blows up.
Really?
Yes. They would have gotten an R rating. So they had to put a flame. They had to put a flame in between them, so it didn't, like, you couldn't really see it clear, see his head blow up like that. So it's crazy. So
wow.
I think honestly, like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, in my opinion, are they're exhausted properties. I think should focus on new stuff like that. That's where I'm at, is I just want to focus on newer things, and and it doesn't necessarily have to be nerdy stuff. Like right now I'm watching Ted Lasso. I'm on season 2, and
don't watch season 3.
I just watched the Christmas episode, and I have not had, like, I've not been so charmed by an episode than the Christmas
Seasons
episode.
1 and 2 were great. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's one issue I had with one of the episodes. There was an episode where like, what's his name? The one dude from Nigeria is representing Dubai Air.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Dubai Air is they're responsible for like not cleaning up an oil leak in Nigeria. And he texts his dad saying, "Hey, I got free tickets, come and see me play." And his dad goes all freaking certain, way people act online, to try to be to display this virtue or the self-righteousness. I'm like, if that was me, I'd be like, fuck off.
If you
honestly, like, if you are, I mean, seriously, if someone sent me, if I had a problem, now let's say this is a legitimate problem, this could be a legitimate problem. You say it after the fact. Say, okay, take the thing. It's like, thank you, but we have to talk about this, and then we talk about this in person, not the way that it happened in the show. I don't know if you know what I'm getting at.
I'm not going to comment on how it happened in the show. I'm just going to say that if you don't like the political posturing of characters and story elements in that episode, which I think that was an environmentalist kind of storyline that was kind of added into the show, right? There's a way to do it.
You're
going to hate season 3. Season 3 has probably 4 episodes in a row where it's just political topic of the episode, and the entire episode revolves around that, to the point where you're like, I thought this was a show about a soccer club, or if you're a left-hand driver, a football club, but it's absurd. Like, the season 3 has been really rough to watch as a fan of the first 2 seasons. And I know there are some people who didn't even like the first 2 seasons. I don't know, whatever. They didn't like the sense of humor of it or whatever. And
really,
yeah,
it's a very charming show. Like, I like that. The second episode, first episode, I was like, okay, but then the second episode just won me. The second episode, first episode, I go by the 4-episode rule that a lot of people go with when it comes to shows. If you can win me over by the 4th episode, I'll keep watching. If you win me over by the 2nd episode, dude, that's a bonus for me.
I think that the problem with season 3 is that all of the main characters of season 1 and 2 are side characters in season 3, and all of the side characters become main characters with the most inconsequential plot arcs that you do not care about and do not want to see and are objectively boring.
Do they become insufferable?
And well, the entire storyline becomes insufferable. Like I said, Steve saying it here in the chat, too much Keeley, way too fucking much Keeley. Oh my gosh, too much.
Okay. So far, I haven't had an issue with her. Like she's been pretty.
Well, it's because in seasons 1 and 2, it's about her relationship with Jamie or with Roy or whatever, right? In season 3, it's her relationship with a new character that is not part of the previous show. So now she becomes a central character with her own side characters, and the plot arc is boring as hell. It's just it's a relationship drama about a B and C tier character in the story. Like it's just worthless.
I see. I mean, going back to that one episode that I had the slight issue with.
Funny that you bring that up.
There was one, but there was one thing I liked. Now there was still one thing I liked about that episode, and was how it built Jamie up. Now Jamie is, the dick. He's the prima donna. He's the one that single-handedly won games in season 1. Yep. Well, I liked, even though it made me think of another situation, I liked how even that situation where they're taping the the sponsor, they're using black tape to tape the sponsor. I liked how Jamie kind of built his rapport with I forget that character's name, the Nigerian character's name, Sam. And with the rest of the team. And so I love stuff like that because I've always struggled with relationships myself, like any type of relationship. So seeing relationships improve is something that really moves me. So there was like, once again, it was just the way that it was, the way the parent of that player reacted, saying, "I can't believe you shill for a company like that." I'm like, grow up. You're the parent. Grow up. And to pull him aside and talk about it. Don't just do it over text and everything, especially when he invites you to a game with free tickets.
Yeah,
like, that's just a mean, ungrateful thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's also like that it's part. Okay, I mean, there are people's parents and people in general who are like that, right? So like that was a real thing, right? Yeah. Season 3 becomes absolute caricatures of just trash, right? It's like they. I don't want to get too much into it. I'm upset that I've watched season 3. That's what I'll.
So you're saying I should not watch.
You should not watch.
Like season, like so.
Season 2 is the end of the show.
That's fun. I mean, seriously, like you have. I mean, like what is with this? What is with this trend of shows just turning the shit by season 3? Usually, I mean, isn't the claim, that shows don't get good until season 3?
No,
well, maybe in the 90s, 80s and 90s.
That is only a thing that people say when they're defending these absolute trash fire shows that we see coming out. And like, oh, you got to wait multiple seasons. I can't think of a single show that didn't get good until seasons 3. Like, no, there are only shows that were good and got better. Right? Like there are shows that are like that. Better Call Saul, for example, got really strong in seasons 3 through 5. Season 6, I thought was a downer, and you and I can fight about that. But 3 through 5, really solid. But it was a solid show from seasons 1 through 2.
The only issue with season 6 was the post Breaking Bad stuff.
No. I thought that I found myself the first 5 seasons, like every time an episode ended, I wanted to watch the next episode. I had to remind myself I needed to finish the season 6. Like
you didn't like the Lalo stuff or the the Jimmy and Kim.
It was
stuff because it was basically it was divided between the Jimmy and Kim stuff and the Lalo stuff. The Lalo stuff I loved. The Lalo stuff I loved. The way Mike's story ended in the show in episode 9 was brilliant.
Yeah, I liked the Lalo stuff. The Jimmy and Kim stuff was kind of meh. I didn't really care about it. It was okay. I just wasn't super invested in it, and
Yeah, that was something that they just started. I mean,
Yeah.
season 5 really started the. It started with, and I'm thinking about. I'm watching the show, and as much as I have glowing glowing or for what you call rose tinted glasses, I was just like, why did he start now? Why did he start just like chucking bowling balls onto Howard's was a Cadillac or something?
I don't know.
I was just like, it's just all because Howard asked him to work for him.
It was such
I'm
a
just
petty,
like,
thing.
why this? I mean, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
That kind of, I'm like, this didn't quite make sense to me. So there was that, and then they put that in to establish at the finale of season 5 that they're going to do this little thing to ruin Howard.
Yeah.
And then they decided, it
didn't do it for me, and it ruined the pacing for the stuff that I liked. The fact that it was only 40% of each episode was the Lalo and that kind of stuff made that stuff less interesting because you were seeing such little slices of it. It didn't work for me. But hey, we have that comment in the chat there, Nas, pointing out that we've been letting you run your suck too much instead of sucking your cup. So get that glass refilled, sir. And
Boy, I thought this was a show for kids.
What about three men talking about drinking and getting drunk? What is it? Actually, you know what? If we were liberals, this would be a show for kids. You're right. I'm sorry.
Once again, the views of the views of the Pips do not necessarily reflect the views of the Porto or the Nathan or the chat.
I'm gonna go grab my second cocktail. It's got 3 shots of moonshine in it, so probably my last cocktail.
the moonshine that I tried.
Indeed, and you'll know it's moonshine. Shit. I'll show you guys the mason jar. I'll be right back.
All right, so Pips is gone. So here, let's see what people are saying. I don't know what Prophet's talking about. Is episode 3. I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, Eldan's here. What's up, Eldan? How you doing? Good day. Or how do they say in Austrian? Good day. Good day. Everyone. Nerdman. That's what you call it.
Just watch Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and you'll see Chips O'Toole.
Yeah, it's like I have to learn different dialects, different accents. Australians have their version. Obviously, UK have their version. South Africans have their version. And then Chicagoans like me have their version too. So, all right. So what is not saying? God, Portal. I watched an episode of TNG earlier of a giant female Klingon. I'm sure you're probably talking about Kalar. That was kind of thick, and she got mad and smashed the table. I have no idea what was going on, but it was disturbing. Well, let's just say her and a certain Worf kind of fuck in the holodeck, and they have a kid, and that kid is played by Brian Bonsall for the rest of the series. Excuse me. So one thing, I don't know if you're familiar with the actor Brian Bonsall. He played characters that aged in TV shows. So like character would be born, and then they'd hire him. They'd age the character so that they could hire him to play the character. So first it was Family Ties. The Keatons had a baby, and then the next season they aged him like 5 or 6 years. So they had him in that show, and then they had him in TNG, and then of course, unfortunately, he was in Blank Check, and then he had some legal troubles as an adult. And I think he's still with us, but I know a lot of people with that were in his position have passed away because of drugs and all that. So
Nas, it was the basis for the animated Star Wars show that they've got going on now, Lower Decks.
I like how you said the animated Star Wars show. Perfect.
Or no, did I say Star Wars?
Yeah, and you know what? You went.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Nathan. You're not wrong. So,
right.
Lord. Yeah, did you hear about Lord? Did you see the Strange New Worlds trailer, sir? They did
not watch it.
So they're Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks they're gonna have a crossover. So they're gonna take the 2 animated characters, their voice actors, and show them in live action. I saw the trailer. I'm not fucking joking. Like, I am totally. I mean, I know you guys are probably going to call bullshit on this, but I'm totally done with any future with Star Trek. Like I just can't. I can't support it. I can't support the people making it. I think there are a bunch of Pips, because you talked about the rules of psychopaths. I just been thinking the word psychopath lately quite a bit. Heck, I actually took the test myself. I'm not a psychopath. I might be a sociopath. I'm not a psychopath.
Oh, okay.
So,
good. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So I have to provide the proof. So here's this right here. It's maple syrup, Angostura bitters, a little bit of cherry juice from some bourbon barrel aged cherries, and 3 shots of this right here, which is some moonshine that I aged in a charred oak barrel myself.
Yeah, he did, and I tried it. I tried it like how many months? 3 months ago or something.
Yeah, and it's been aging all the time. I just took it out of the barrel today.
I was like, it's good.
And it is.
He's still trying to get rid of the heat.
It's like drinking a maple syrup, sort of like campfire smoke. It's just.
Oh. Nice. See, if I wasn't in the house, I would actually be taking some pipe smoke and actually doing a smoked old fashioned.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah, it isn't bad. So this one, it's just your typical old fashioned, except instead of sugar, I'm using brown sugar.
Okay.
So I haven't tasted it yet, but then I also, some people do this, some people don't. They'll take an orange peel and rim the glass for additional orange flavor.
Did you muddle the brown sugar, or did you put a brown sugar cube in there and just let it rest, or do you put like what?
I just sprinkled some brown sugar in there and dissolved it in the bitters.
Nice.
I didn't even know you can muddle brown sugar. I thought that was like a.
So if you can get brown sugar cubes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'm done with the mint julep. So now on to my second drink, which I pre-made. So the third drink I'm going to actually make on stream. But the second drink I made an old fashioned. What did I make with this old fashioned? So as you can see, there's orange. There's I put in some maraschino cherries, or however you pronounce it. Product of Italy. But yeah, once again, 4 roses.
There you go.
4 roses. Some oranges. So I put some little orange juice in there. Oh shit! I put some lemon juice in because I'm too lazy to cut a lemon. And I don't know what else. I think I put some bitters in too. That's what salty. Yep. This is the salty traveling sea sour old fashioned. I just added the cherries I add orange and the cherries as a garnish. So. Cheers.
So salty, you'll have to verify that's actually your recipe and not that.
Well, the cherries not necessarily, but yeah. Oh, this is sour.
Yeah, they were.
I have the recipe up right here.
Cherries at the store today, so I just got a fresh bag of cherries and did it myself and wrapped an orange peel around it.
Spear.
I had a cherry in this and then I ate it. And now I don't have a cherry in it because it was tasty.
So there, back in my college days, my brother and I had an apartment, and we decided that it would be a great idea to throw a hairy buffalo party.
I don't know that I want to know what that is.
Okay, so
I'm looking at you with your beard, and I'm concerned about the direction that the story is going.
Yes, I ran all Sasquatch, and they hunted me in the woods. Now the hairy buffalo, it's a different. Different regions have different names for it. Different universities, whatever. It's just a shitload of alcohol in a tub with a bunch of fruit punch and then a lot of fruit added to it. And we had, since my brother had connections down in Cincinnati. We crossed the border into Kentucky because at the time Everclear was illegal in Ohio. And so we went over to Kentucky and we got 2 bottles of Everclear and added it to this big tub of fruit and fruit punch. And had a bunch of people over. We also had a keg of beer, which I don't know got much use that night. But we had a huge ratio of puking that evening. It took one guy actually about 20 minutes before he was out past the fence in the woods behind the house to upend himself. The next time we saw him was the next morning when he was passed out in my brother's closet with a leather jacket on. Don't know. Buddy of mine had a 22-ounce glass, was chugging this stuff, and it's like, man, this is just not going to end well. And as my brother and I were preparing this Hairy Buffalo tub of stuff, we're cutting up all that fruit, tossing it in, and we're just so excited how messed up everybody's going to be. And we got so tired of cutting everything. By the time we got to the pineapple, we just looked at each other and threw the thing in whole. And so
you didn't even quarter it, just like
no, we're just like, yeah, fuck it, threw it in. And yeah, the next morning, my buddy who was chugging the stuff looked at me. He's like, "Why is my shirt all red?" Like, because you threw it up all over yourself. What do you think? I mean, it was just an insane amount of alcohol. And then we still had most of the keg left, which, we did keg stands at 10 in the morning before we went to the Bob Evans for breakfast. Came back and everybody leaves. And my brother and I are like, well, guess we got to finish the keg. And so we spent the entire day killing the keg. It was a memorable weekend without much of the memories. But
oh shit.
Well,
I let's see. I think a similar level of drunkenness I achieved once, at least once in my college days. Well, twice, but one of them was more like at a family sort of thing. So I won't tell that story. I will say, don't get into a tequila drinking competition with a middle-aged Hispanic woman. I maintain that I drank more than she did, to my deep regret. But story for another time. So
I just get this image of the catcher from Major League before he gets the call to try out with the Indians. And he's laying down there on the bed, and he's got that Hispanic woman laying over top of him in the hotel when the phone call comes through, and he's like, "Oh, I'm hungover."
let me just put it this way: I missed my flight the next day.
Oh shit!
Were you the one flying, or
no, just passenger, It wasn't, I wasn't Denzel from Flight on that occasion. But okay, so the actual story here, back in my college days. So I was on a date with this girl. It was a dorm party, and we started playing some drinking games. I think it was spoons, and she was losing like every single time, like the first couple rounds. And I'm like, I should be a gentleman. I'll drink half of yours, right? Because the way we were playing it, like if you lost, you had to do a shot, and it was 151 rum. And I'm like, I'll do half of these, right? And she proceeded to lose like a lot of times, to the point where I had, like, they were doing Sharpie marks on your hand for, I don't know, social credit score purposes, I guess, for the next day. The next day I had at least 8 marks. Hard to tell because they were smudged. I would say at least, probably more. And the only thing that I remember from this was at a certain point, I got up, walked out of a dorm room, walked down the hall of the dorm, like there's bathrooms. I walked past the bathrooms. I'd like never been in this building before. And I opened up the like exit door at the end of it onto this small little balcony. And I just like, it was dark, out into the darkness. And I just vomited off the edge of this balcony. Right. And feeling much better about myself. I walked back inside. Right. The next morning I used a similar escape route and noticed that there was a first floor that extended past this balcony.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
So I had painted this roof. Absolutely.
Oh my!
Absolutely. Just.
Oh boy!
Oh.
I'll drink to that.
And the building was on a hillside. So as you approach the dorm from the hill, the evidence was clearly obvious. And I went home and I thought about my poor life decisions. Moral of the story: don't do several shots of 151.
Right. Yeah, we used to go to this house and party, and so there's a similar, like not with 151, mind you, but they would just throw keg parties at this house all the time, and so they had 2 kegs, and so the first one they tapped was just your typical Natty Light type stuff, and so we get there and we're just pounding the beers like there's no tomorrow, and the second keg that they tapped was Ice House. And I don't, yeah, Pips is familiar. Yeah.
It's
Natty's not a good life choice anyway.
However cheap it is, it's not worth it.
Right.
However much you pay for Ice House, it is not worth it.
No, it pays for itself in regret.
Yeah.
And I just apparently just was going glass to glass to glass like a champ that night. And finally, it's like I'm like, okay, I need to go to the restroom. So I'm standing in line to go to the bathroom. And all of a sudden I just get this sudden sixth sense. I'm like, no, I don't need to use the restroom. I need some place where I can go to throw up. And so the line wasn't moving. There was no way for me to subvert everybody and break down the door and puke. So I saw a door over here. So I made a beeline for the door to the back patio. It's on the second floor, similar to what you're talking about, Pips. And I'm just letting it go. And then I get done, clean off, and I'm like, all right, time to hit the Ice House. And I lasted about another 3 or 4 beers before I was back on the balcony, letting it all go back out.
Yeah.
And then as I'm doing the second round of this, I realize what I'm doing is I'm chucking it into a tree that overhangs their front lawn. And so anybody that is walking underneath that tree, say within the next half hour, might think it could be raining in a very, very nasty sense.
Wow.
That's
and after that second time, I went in and promptly passed out. But that second time puking, though, I'm sitting there like realizing all this, and then I just start laughing while I'm puking, and it's just kind of like that's messed up.
Yeah. Well, you guys have some really great stories. I mean, it's funny.
No, they're not great.
Well, I mean, they're fun. They're fun in hindsight. Like the time that at an office party, going away for a bunch of my good buddies, we went over to one of the boss's houses, and he was moving, and so he was selling his house, and he was like, yeah, like no one trashed the place too much, and I proceeded to get so ridiculously drunk at the pregame for this party that by the time I showed up there, like it was like I was already I was like reenacting Paranormal Activity in the backyard, where I was just standing there, kind of like doing this. People were coming up like, "Hey, buddy, you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." I just need it. And I ended up painting the roses red, I think, a little bit on some. And yeah, that was good. I think I ended up standing next to a fire pit just to like try and get warmth to sort of, that felt like it was an improvement.
Right.
And I ended up oh man, I got in trouble for that one.
Yeah. Well, on your 21st birthday, just let me put a recommendation out there for all the folks who are not of legal age yet listening to the stream, because they obviously are. When you turn 21, do not get so blotted out of your mind that you think it's a great idea to run out in your socks in the rain and just lay down in a parking lot. It's not a good idea.
So in the rain. Well,
Speaking for a friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Because my birthday's in December, so it was also cold as hell. So
shit.
Wet socks, drunk as hell. And this is a memory, by the way, that is actually secondhand. I do not recall this memory. That's how bad my 21st birthday was.
Nice.
It hit about 9 p.m. and I don't have any recollection.
I never got to that level. When
Yeah,
I was in college, I was in a fraternity. So you think right away, you think, I got blasted all the time, or never did. I never did. Never got into beer. Never really got into alcohol, period. So, I mean, the one time I had a drink, when I went to a bar with people, I usually get the chill drink. I get like a whiskey or something. And I would just kind of chill and drink. Yeah. But there were times where I've had too much to drink when I was in college. I think I was 22. We were at this apartment. So there were I'm in Chicago. I went to UIC. No frat houses. So we just had this one guy's apartment, and he had like this apartment can only hold 50 people. Yet there was like 100. There was like at least 100 people in this place, and everybody knew who I was. Somehow I wasn't a popular dude, but everybody knew I didn't drink. So whenever people offered to drink, everybody would just take notice, and then they would start cheering. They would start cheering my name or my nickname that I had. And no, or drunk no. The first syllable of my last name, which I will not reveal here, followed by dog. The first syllable of my last name followed by dog. So that's what people, and then people, sometimes people like on social media still call me that. I'm just like, I cringe when I hear that. But so the 100 people were cheering me on to drink from a bong, to drink beer from a bong. So I was like, fuck it, fine, I'll do it. I'll take it. It was shit beer. It was Busch Light. Everybody, that was the beer of choice. So it was Busch Light, and some asshole poured Coke or RC into the beer bong as I was drinking. I threw the shit away, and it got all over me. So that got ruined, and I don't know. I don't remember what else I had to drink, but let's just say I just started dancing quite a bit, and I started dancing like obnoxiously with everybody. So you guys shared an embarrassing story. I'm sharing an embarrassing story. I had too much to drink. I think I nearly knocked a girl down or something from dancing like an asshole, from dancing like a fucking moron. And
that's the part
somehow,
of the story.
And I didn't drink it. I didn't drink enough to black out. Like I remember the night, but after that we went to Mr. Griggs, because we're right by Greektown, Chicago. So we walked all the way to Mr. Griggs. What's funny is the person whose place we stayed at, he fucking left his place, leaving people there to go to Mr. Griggs to get hot dogs or gyros or whatever the fuck ever, because you drink, you want to eat. So I go. So I'm just tagging along. I'm kind of I'm a little more tipsy than I usually am. So I was actually I was happier than usual. Even back then, I was happy. I was not a happy guy, but when I drank, I was happy. Don't ask me why. and I think everybody else was fucking blasted. Like I remember I was sitting at a table at this place. We had the squeeze ketchup bottles and mustard bottles. We got kicked out because they were squirting ketchup and shit at each other, mustard and everything. I'm like fuck, what the fuck are you fucking idiots doing? And then we got kicked out, so I couldn't eat I couldn't order. So I was just like, fuck it. I went back to my dorm, and I don't know what the fuck happened after that. So I woke up, and I was like, that was. So I never got to the point where I ever vomited drinking.
Oh well,
that was probably the one night I actually probably got the most.
I mean, I'd say
probably got the most blasted, I guess you could say.
I'd say that's good for you for not vomiting, I guess. Some people consider that, you know, a thing. I would say that I was always born to be a military pilot because I have a natural tendency to reach for the eject handle. My body gets to a point where it's like, you've ceased making good decisions for the night. It's time to punch out. So I've. The plus side is that I've never really had like an absolute like killer hangover, because if I get to the point where I'm like legitimately blackout drunk, like I get rid of that. Well, actually, I take that back. The time that I missed that plane, I had a killer hangover, but that was partly because like if you've ever been still kind of a little bit drunk and then having to go through 3 airports in a day. I mean, that's not even a hangover. That's hell. I don't know what circle of hell that is, but like I when I made it to the airport, I talked to the lady that was there. First of all, I get there. There's a line at the counter, and I'm like, I can't face this right now. I beeline for the bathroom. I throw up again, and then I come back out, and the line has diminished. And I just walk up. I'm just like, help me. and you know, if you've ever been that person in distress or the airline teller, especially for airline tellers, I don't know what the patron saint of airline tellers is, but you know, bless you. That person Seriously. Got me on another flight, made my connections or whatever, and I was in a lot of pain that day, but that wasn't their fault. That like they didn't do that. But I was gonna say that, Nate, do you consider these embarrassing stories? I think they're kind of legendary stories. Like you know, like Salty said, that like after a certain number of years, the shame and like sour stomach feeling of recalling these memories goes away, and you're just like, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm not that dumb anymore, but like that was fun. It was a fun thing for past me to pay for current me to be able to remember.
You want to know what's funny is those pictures, you know, that night that I just talked about, those pictures are still up on Facebook. Yeah. Nice. And there's a weird picture of me. I have my arm around a dude and I'm just smiling. I'm just smiling like I am and everything with more hair. But, and the other guy looked like he wanted to fucking kill the photographer. Like it's one of my friends, my friend Marty's his favorite picture of all time, and it's still up on Facebook. So and there's a picture of me like I'm just like you look at me I'm like holy shit, this dude's blasted. So
yeah, I will say that it's a combination. Like
I'll share that.
They are legendary stories that, when you have kids, turn into embarrassing things that you don't want them to live because you realize what a stupid decision it was, and you just don't want them doing the same thing. That said, once they have their stories, I will still share them with that, and then we'll all have laughs together. So it's kind of morphed in and out, and is morphing back into that eventually, I imagine.
Oh shit, there it is. Oh no, it's so up. Oh my god. You guys want to see a younger picture of me? Let me see if I can
check the private chat.
Whoa.
I don't know. So
Oh,
Trip
all right,
was
fine.
asking.
All right.
Trip was asking how did we survive our young drunken antics, and
God's grace.
yeah, I would say, you know what I think it is. Have you guys ever seen that? There was like an old school internet. I think it started as a subreddit post or something like that, but it was like humans are the T-1000 of the animal kingdom, and it was like, what if they made like a Predator movie, but it was like aliens and like humans showed up and were the predators, and they're like, yeah, like humans, and it just listed like all these crazy things about humans, about like why we are the T-1000 of the animal kingdom.
Wait, how do we sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Pip. So how do we start talking about this?
About how did we survive our drunken antics? And it's because like among animals, humans are actually like very hard to kill. Like babies, super easy to kill. Adult humans are as far as like organic life forms are near indestructible. Like
yeah.
So
yeah, we could use
not wrong.
People can live through them.
Yeah. I mean that's some of it, right? Like there are lots of animals that, like the trauma of a broken wing or something like that, like probably kills that bird, whereas people, you like even old school, whatever, we found skeletons of people who lost entire limbs and like lived another 20 years from like caveman days. Like,
speaking of caveman days, I finished a series this week. You ever hear of Primal?
I have heard of it. I haven't seen it. It's the cartoon, the animated one, right?
It's the Genndy Tartakovsky series. He did the original Micro Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to warn you, if you ever decide to watch Primal, like the first episode, let's just say there's a lot of trauma and a lot of tragedy in that first episode, and that's how
there's like no dialogue.
Yeah, there's no dialogue.
Yeah,
and
no dialogue.
That's what makes this a masterful series. So I was watching it. Prophet and Salty have both seen it, and we were talking about like I think earlier this week. So I decided, I had HBO Max still. Sat down, watched.
Oh, it's on HBO.
Okay. Yeah, HBO Max. Or now it's just Max. So, but I watched the first episode. Then I just I didn't watch any other episodes. So it was shocking what I saw. And then the second time I saw it, I shed tears. Like it was even sadder than 1883, and 1883 drove me to tears too.
All right, I'll have to watch it then, because 1883. You know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's crazy. So the first episode establishes that really. I mean, I don't even want to go into it. It's really tough to talk. It's things like if you have kids, it's something that it's the thing that I'm not going to say anything. I can't even say it. I'll spoil it.
Salty, are you talking about Primal here? You're saying that you should just. Or are you talking about a different show?
He's talking about Primal. He's me and Salty. So I watched the finale, and the finale was kind of underwhelming and didn't feel earned for what happened. So like, let's just say there was not enough setup for this final fight, so to speak, that happens in the finale, and that's supposed to be the end of that particular story. So see, the end of season 2 is the end of that story that begins in the first episode of season 1 of Primal. But they're probably going to make more following like another character or something. I don't know if that's going to work out, but so season 2 is pretty much the end as far as the writing of the original story is. So the whole series is there, but there's 20 episodes between seasons 1 and 2. The 19 episodes from seasons 1 and 2 that are freaking phenomenal. Like it's nuts. Like it's nuts. Like it's bloodbath after bloodbath. It's survival after survival after survival, and you're facing things like this is Primal. This is supposed to be when dinosaurs exist, and just imagine there, huh? Just imagine like you're a human being, and there's dinosaurs that exist, and there's these predators that can easily kill you. like just like either flying things or T-Rexes or whatever. It's crazy, and it's just it's the two characters don't speak at all, and it's one of the most compelling stories I've ever watched. So definitely watch Primal.
Strong endorsements.
Yeah.
Strong endorsements.
Yeah, it's I've gone through I think 4 or 5 episodes, and then I've got distracted by other things going on. But it's still it's really good. It's a great lesson on how to tell a story without dialogue. It's possible. You don't have to have this fast, witty conversation like you do with every freaking thing that Joss Whedon produces.
Yeah,
that gets annoying
totally
as hell.
You know what would have been a show that would have been better with no dialogue?
Gee, what could you possibly be referencing here? Could it be something that's just behind your head?
What could have been if they just hadn't been allowed to write a script?
Seriously.
I mean,
seriously.
The question is, I've read your comments, like, so you were literally upset at the announcement on what was it, Wednesday for season 2. So they're actually going through with season 2. And
I mean, I knew that
they showed the images and everything, and
it was exactly as trash as we knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, like, I suppose maybe like a little worse than we thought it was going to be, with especially that first picture. I don't even like it's like, it's
so bad.
Like, Dane has said this before. It has to be like a producer's level, like, scam, right? Like that's the only way it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think I actually like season 1. I mean, we had a lot of fun with the rewatch, because if you approach it like it's the producers, if you approach it like it's a comedy that like is intentionally bad, like we made it bad on purpose as a joke, then it, we use the Mystery Science Theater overlay, because that's what we're doing. We're like, that show became a cult classic for watching the absolute worst movies that Hollywood had ever managed to create. And it showed that like you could actually have an enjoyable experience watching those by just making fun of them, and that's what we did. And season 2 is going to be like
it's gonna be
we
worse.
won't even have to try and top season 1 of the rewatch. Like it's gonna be so much worse.
So there's gonna be a rewatch.
Oh, there's gonna be a rewatch.
Yeah, I'd watch the rewatches if you guys didn't spoil like the books and everything. So that's the only reason why I'd be watching them in a heartbeat.
Finish the series.
Yeah, I'm. Speaking of, I want to. Aldan asked this question a while ago. He's like, "Where are you in the Dragon Reborn?" I have to really read in the next couple of days in order to catch up. But I just met Avienda for the first time. I'm on the chapter where they meet Avienda.
Did she free and or save Perrin's life fighting against the Shan-Chan?
No.
Oh,
No,
they're so weird.
No, they're in.
Robert Jordan didn't cover that in the books, which now that I know that happened in the show, it really kind of deepens absolutely nothing.
You're not immediately now part of the 70% of people that think the show is better than the books.
No, not a bit.
Isn't it?
Not a bit.
Oh man!
Oh shit!
I will say though, that stream that you guys did on Prophet's channel was absolutely epic. That was one of the more enjoyable streams that I've had watching in the past several months.
Yeah, I was just the producer. I didn't say much, but then again, I didn't have much to say because I'm totally not interested in covering the show at all. Like the announcements mean nothing to me. Like heck, like usually a good adaptation, like I will partially when I read something, I will, like for Lord of the Rings, I try not to, but I partially like, sorry Pips, I gotta say this, envision the characters the way they were in the movies when I'm reading it. So that's something I'm trying not to do. I'm trying to envision them based on artwork or how they were originally thought of by Tolkien. But I do not do that with this wheel of something adaptation whatsoever. Like it's just like I refuse to even acknowledge that it's even related to Wheel of Time. What Robert Jordan wrote.
Oh no, there is the only relation to it is just the names and some of the places that they've been. Not all the places, but some of the places. And it honestly it should have the same disclaimer that is at the beginning of every single episode of Law and Order, where the
Law and Order.
Names and places.
If you've seen the they brought back Law and Order, I watched an episode, dude. The word that rhymes with smoke or bloke.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I was just like, I saw there was a moment where instead of because the detectives kind of rough up, trying to get answers from people, and then fucking Anthony Anderson's like, you can't do this anymore, and I'm just like, oh god damn it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, fuck. Sorry.
There's no point to that show. I saw the writing on the wall a long time ago. Like I stopped watching that show just from the aspect of there's only so much time that I can spend investigating the depths of the depravity that goes on with all these crimes. And so because it's all those shows are all very cookie cutter. It's this, and this happened. And then you have resolution after all of that. And, so it happens like that with all of these true crime type of shows like Criminal Minds, NCIS, all that stuff. They're very basic, very cookie cutter, and it hits a certain key audience. And I won't debate that at all.
I mean, the original show was on for 20 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
Like it was on throughout my childhood, and I think it ended when I was in college, after I graduated college. And the same with then SVU. That was the fucked up one. Was SVU, Special Victims Unit.
Yeah. That show went really dark, and that was kind of when that one started coming out. That's where it kind of lost a lot of interest for me, just because it was like, okay, I've seen you talk about this same thing before for the past 40 episodes. So why am I going to sit there and look at this and be like, oh, the commercial said, don't miss this edition, where so-and-so does this and you won't believe the ending. And I'm like, oh, let me guess. The ending is this and this. And then I'd watch and be like, hey, look, I'm totally shocked that I was right.
I don't know. A show that I started watching recently that I actually have liked. It's called The Silo on Apple TV, and I feel like when I first started watching
disagrees.
that was sorry, Pips, go ahead.
His reaction, I think, is almost warranted in that, like, it feels very mystery boxy, right? So the premise is like 10,000 people are living in this silo, like an underground silo that's been around for like hundreds of years.
Sounds like something on Fallout.
And they think the world outside is a wasteland, right? But there's evidence that it's not a wasteland, and that somehow they are being lied to, that it's actually fine and they could leave if they wanted to. And it centers around a character that is basically the sheriff, the cop, right? And is investigating a series of crimes and events and murders and things like that, while also trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the silo. And it, it feels very mystery boxy, right?
So is there a lot? There's a lot of Lost. There's like a lot of Lost and
a little bit, like a little bit,
the story,
right? A little
like,
bit.
is this silo like a magical silo or something?
No. It all seems very mechanical and very, whatever. But there's clearly someone or something that maybe isn't even alive. Like maybe it's a program that was set up to alter their perception of the outside, right? They have essentially a camera that looks out, and the suspicion is that the camera is not showing reality, right? But anyway, the mystery box elements are there, but it's shot really well, it's acted really well, the characters are interesting, it's like the drama is good. And the more I watch it, the more I'm convinced that I think there actually is a there. So I'm willing to admit I might be setting myself up for another Lost or something like that, or friggin' Peripheral, or whatever, right? Where it's just mystery box after mystery box after mystery box. Like that's possible. But so far, I am enjoying it. I think that it has the potential to have a good payoff, and I'm hoping that they deliver on it. So
this is there's only one season out, right? Or are they still?
This is the inaugural season, and
if
they pay off on what they're establishing, I think that this would prove my previous point that like shows don't start out like shit and then get good. Shows have to be at least decent and then they become better, right?
Yeah.
Or they become shit, right? Yes. I'm just saying good shows start out at least decent.
Yeah. So question about Apple. So does Apple follow the Netflix model or the Amazon model where they release episodes weekly? Or do they release everything once and they binge?
They release weekly.
Okay. All right. So is the silo still releasing episodes?
5 episodes out, I think, right now. I just watched episode 5.
Do you know how many episodes the season's gonna be? Is it gonna be 8? Is it gonna be 10 or something?
I think they do 10 episode seasons. I think
the other series I'm really interested in.
Ted Lasso does.
10
right?
This season I've looked. This season's gonna be like what, 12 now or something?
Yeah, it's because it's the last season, and they decided
they're not making any more Ted Lasso after this.
That's the strong suspicion. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but they're setting the show up, I think, for Ted to return back to the US at the end of this season. So that's why I think it's he's got an arc. Like, you always know that he wasn't going to stay there in the UK forever. His son is back in America, right? He's got to go back at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think it's going to end. I guess we'll find out in an episode or two, right? Although, gosh, the last episodes have been shit. Trip asking, 3,000 Years Long. I haven't seen it. I don't know about you two.
No. Is that another Apple show? What platform?
I'm not sure. Haven't heard about it.
So the other show that I'm really interested in on Apple is For All Mankind. That was
For All Mankind is great.
That was recommended from multiple angles. So
I recommended that show.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
2 seasons. First 2 seasons, and I think even Steve recommended the first 2 seasons. I think they're on 4 seasons now, or 3 or 4.
3 or 4. I don't actually. I think that I was watching the most recent season when it was still coming out, and I never finished the last couple episodes of it. So I actually still need to catch up on that. But the most recent season had a lot of red flags to me about some things that they were doing, but every single time, like you get the biggest kind of red flag sort of thing. And
was there any posturing like we talked about earlier?
It was mostly around you know, male female kind of, you know, dynamic stuff, not necessarily like, you know, political, you know, whatever, right? I mean, that is political, but like not as egregious as Ted Lasso season 3, where it's just, you know, the issue of today is, you know, whatever. So, you know, every time you kind of thought that it was going to go one direction, like all of a sudden you know, the character that you thought was going to be the butt of the joke and would absolutely just get destroyed and steamrolled in order to make the other character look better would all of a sudden like have like something good happen. Like it would kind of like come out and you're just like, wow, we're showing like complex. Okay. Yeah. I'm still on board with this. And then you're like, I'm feeling a little like they might be leaning that way. And so it kept on earning my views. Was more concerning than the first couple seasons, but it continued to be really strong. And it's just one of those things, like, you guys can tell me if you agree with this, but I feel like the problem with the political messaging stuff in shows nowadays is not even that it's something that I disagree with, right? Because things that I agree with, I actually find just as annoying in TV shows and movies. Like
I said, it's the way.
I was going to say that, you know, I lean to the right of center. I am a Christian, and a lot of the like conservative Christian produced stories and stuff like that, I find tiresome from the fact that it's, you know, it's a propaganda sort of message, right? And I find the left of center propaganda messaging also tiresome. It's like just show the story and the movie and the characters.
Yeah.
And if some of the characters are good and some of them are bad, that's fine.
It is preachy without story.
Exactly. I don't want to get preached to, even if I agree with the sermon. Even if I agree with the sermon, I don't want to get preached to. I go to church.
You know, show did it pretty good, pretty well. Original Star Trek. Yeah. So I mean, you can. I mean, once again, it's if you're going to do something like that, you have to challenge the viewer, and you can't just put one side and act all self-righteous. Life is never that simple. So I mean, you have to like the best episodes of Star Trek, in my opinion, are the episodes. Well, maybe not the best, but the ones that really are the most thought-provoking are the ones that don't have a very clear solution or very clear right solution. Like, it's really up to the viewer, and it's something to talk about, something to discuss, something to debate about, perhaps, you know. So I mean, that's just, I mean, it's
well, that's where it comes down to the quality of the storytelling. If you can't present the idea, then you're not going to get the discussion. You're not going to get a fulfilling resolution one way or the other. And that's what we have. That's what we're struggling with these days, is that, you know, the Avengers had a pretty decent storyline going as they were combining everything, and then it petered out toward the end, and then and since Endgame, it's completely shat the bed because it's gone all the preachy side, and it can be argued that it went preachy even before that, which I would agree with.
Did you know? I mean, I watched. I mean, the last time I went to the theater to watch anything Marvel related was Endgame. Yep. And I went with a buddy of mine, and they had this obnoxious shot. Like the movie was, I mean, I know, you say what you will about the movie. I enjoyed it for the most part. But Infinity War was like the one that really felt like probably the only Marvel movie other than maybe Winter Soldier that really had stakes, like real stakes. Like you were super duper invested in the characters and everything. Infinity War, they were getting their asses kicked throughout the entire movie. And then you have Endgame, and then you have that one obnoxious shot. And they did something kind of similar in Picard, not nearly the
Mhm.
extent, but they did something similar in Picard. They had like line of the fairer sex, just running along doing their thing. I was like, oh shit, this is not gonna turn out well in the future. What's funny is it's been 4 years since Endgame came out. 4 years. Can you believe it? It's been 4 years since Endgame came out.
Well,
And
no one talks about
the
it.
MCU has completely went from
Yeah.
phase 4 to phase 4.
Yeah. Well,
And I was never
was-
really invested, but it was like compared to the older, like the Batman, earlier Batman, the 90s Batman stuff, and other superhero stuff that I've seen. This is like I don't think that this is not what I wanted from Marvel. Like I played the
Right.
Avengers game, the arcade game back in the 90s when it was out, and I wanted to see like a comic book version, like something that would live up to the earlier animated shows. Remember the 90s Spider-Man, the 90s X-Men series, something those were good shows, and like make something that would that would justify the quality right there. Sorry.
So the and to sit there and talk about like good quality shows. So Brian, you and I have been talking here and there about anime, and my youngest daughter has gotten me into anime, and we've been quite enjoying like Demon Slayer is actually a really compelling story that has some seriously deep stakes in it, and but then we get to we get to a fun family story, and yes, I see you there. She hears daughter and anime. Hold on a second. You're not gonna be able to hear them, but
Hi, how are you?
all right.
Hi, I'm good.
Hi.
Oh, okay. So
actually, yeah, I actually met her.
Yes, you did. Yeah. And so we've been sitting down. We've been watching Spy Family for it because she's got the manga, and yeah, Minnie Manether and Nice Knots.
But everybody's been like Brandon and all those anime guys have been really recommending Spy Family. Like that's
it's better than Demon Slayer, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, okay. My daughter disagrees with me, but she's wrong, and that's okay because she's also 12. But it's been a fun. The premise of the show is you have this little girl, and she is adopted by this spy. She's Papa, and he adopts her because his mission is he has to get involved in saving, restoring peace between two nations, and the only way to do that is to make inroads with this this family that goes to whose son is attending this very prestigious school. So to do that, he needs a family. So his assignment is to make a family. So he goes and adopts this little girl, and then he has to go out and find a wife. Well, his wife is an assassin, and he doesn't know it, and she doesn't know he's a spy. So that's a kind of a neat premise there. But what really adds a nice twist to it is the daughter, who the girl that he adopts, is a 5-year-old telepath.
6-year-old.
Oh, the 6-year-old.
Exactly. Gosh, just get the details right. Goodness.
Yeah.
I'm 6.
Anyway, so she's a 6-year-old telepath. So she knows their secrets, but she doesn't want to communicate them because she doesn't want to be, rejected by them. But she knows all the time. She thinks her dad's the coolest thing because he's this renowned spy. And so she keeps on dreaming about going on missions with him. And then the adopted mother is, this assassin who, will come in and she'll just absolutely come out of nowhere and do like Deus Ex Machina type saves in some of the scenes that just it is a hell of a lot of fun, and just it's really well acted out, voiced. The girl says stuff just like a 6-year-old girl would say, just silly little things.
Instead
off
of
the
outing,
wall.
it's an ooting.
Yeah.
Did you say that you had gone through the Death Note?
The cat inside the screen.
The what?
Did you say that you had gone through Death Note?
I have not watched Death Note.
Dude, you
I
gotta
love
watch
Death Note.
You have to watch Death Note. That's
Death Note is
that
so good.
is, like, it's just like
I've been
it has, I would compare that to, you might disagree with me, but I felt when I saw Breaking Bad, I felt Death Note vibes from Breaking Bad, like just someone trying to keep themselves from getting caught and all that. So,
I mean, a little bit. I feel like so I will continue to say that you should only watch Death Note season 1 as it is,
It's so good.
as it's done in the sort of like, English release. At least I don't know. I watched it where it was, subtitled, whatever, not the dubbed one, but I understand that apparently the season 1, season 2 construct is not the way that everybody conceives of the show. I don't know. I watched it 15 years ago, and it was season 1 and season 2. I don't know. Season 1.
I didn't even know there was a season. But then again, there's
Yeah.
a particular arc. There's a particular arc that ends with a particular character.
There's 2 arcs, and the first one is the only one that you should watch.
Remember we talked about bleak endings or endings where the bad guy wins.
And that's the reason that I say that it's good, because it manages to create like a sympathetic villain that like you never lose sight of the fact that he's the villain, and yet you actually do root for him. And,
I mean, it's like once again, let's just kind of like, it's almost like Breaking Bad to a point. I mean, there are points where you want you kind of root for Walt sometimes, but they get bad to a point where you don't want to root for them. And it's just it starts off like, what's that famous saying, the road to villainy starts as paved with good intentions. Or I probably fucked that one up, but still.
No, because my favorite character in Death Note is obviously Mello, because why not?
See,
who is Mello? I forget which one's Mello. I forget.
Mello is M. And I would argue.
Well, Matt and Mello are M. So.
Yeah. And I would argue that that part of the show, I don't even think you should watch it. I think you should only watch the we'll call it the L saga, and the show ends there.
I've already watched the entire series and read all the mangas. Don't worry.
There's mangas for this? I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if there was a manga for this.
I'm just saying that if somebody wants to just like watch a good show, for me, I feel like the second half was a step back from the first half, in that the first half did what so few shows or stories are brave enough to do, which is just have a villain who is just completely victorious, that is just like absolutely successful and just wins in every possible way.
No, because he becomes a villain at 17.
Exactly. And it's so rare to see a story that is brave enough to do that and does it successfully, where you get to the end of that and you're like, I'm satisfied with this ending.
There's another series that
turned it into the normal story where,
There's another series that does that. It's a mecha series called Code Geass, and let's just say like this is a boy. He has the ability to, he gets this ability to tell people or to manipulate people what to do. So he opens his eye. He has this like little flash in his eye, and he can command people to do whatever he wants them to do. Well, there's a point where like his family is actually the royal empire family of the world, and he manages. He's the youngest of his siblings. So the siblings are all the bad guys initially. He manages to take over the empire himself. Like it should have just ended there, but it didn't quite. It was the same thing. I saw both Death Note and the series at the same time, and they once again, they had to have they didn't want to have they don't have to. Yeah, they didn't. They wanted to have they had this other character who is just like all for the state, all for everything. I'm just like, fuck off with that. Like, I've noticed anime's been doing that quite a bit lately, where they're trying to tell children, instead of fighting for what's right, to side with the state. There's another series on Netflix called Ajin, Ajin. Same idea. Like they're stripping, like there's mutants who are different. It's like X-Men. There's mutants who have these abilities, and they're getting their rights and they're getting their rights and their freedoms stripped away. But yet, and then there's the freedom fighters fighting against them. They're doing this in unscrupulous tactics. Instead of instead of trying to convince the freedom fighters to stop their unscrupularity, or whatever good word for that is, sides with the state. I'm like, why would you do that? They're the ones that started this in the first place. Like, seriously. Like, I sometimes I mean, there's a reason why I don't watch a lot of modern anime for that reason.
All I was saying was that I think that it is a rare and very like bold thing to do for a story to commit to having the villain be the true protagonist, not an antagonist that is the main character, right? Like you see that sometimes where the main character is actually an antagonist for the audience, right? But to have a villain truly be the protagonist of the story and to take that all the way to the climax of that character's arc and give them essentially the hero narrative, but to a villain, is something that is, I think, like I said, very bold in storytelling. I respect the heck out of it when I see it, and when it's executed well, like it was in the first arc of Death Note, you don't want them to undermine that by stepping away from the brink in terms of the like artistic boldness, and then saying, never mind, it wasn't a hero arc for a villain. It was just the first act of a normal sort of villain arc, right? Like, I really loved that first arc in Death Note because you're like, I mean,
you mean like once again he starts with good intentions. He writes the names of all the assholes, all the serial killers in that book. And then, no,
he didn't start with good intentions.
Okay, fine. He thought he
started
with good intentions.
He was deluding himself from the beginning, and then his arc is deciding to stop deluding himself. His arc is to become honest with himself about his desire for power, and then to do whatever is necessary to actualize that. And
to get away with him. Yeah.
And he would have gotten away with it.
It was a very fun arc. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I was like, for a second, like I wasn't sure if when I was watching the series, I wasn't sure if he was going to win. Like I thought, L had him at several points. So I was just so when L died, spoiler alert, I was just like, whoa! I felt something.
Say spoiler.
I cried.
Sorry.
I cried. I was bawling. I was like, no.
And then
when Mello died, I was like, come on, man. Why do they all have to keep dying on me?
I don't even remember Mello. I don't even remember that character.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna have to watch that, huh? I'm sure that's on Crunchyroll, so we'll have to add that to the watch list.
It's also on Netflix.
Actually, I have the Blu-ray. I have the Blu-ray. I think right where my finger is, right there.
Nice.
Send it to us.
Send it to us.
Hand it over. Hand it over.
Oh,
Yeah, I
stop.
saw the series twice. I watched it a long time ago, and then I watched it when I was going a few years ago when I was going to the gym. Just I would watch an episode when I was on the I'd be on the treadmill or something like that. So it was a lot of fun. Like it's a great series to watch. If you haven't seen Death Note, watch Death Note.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, didn't Netflix try to do a live action adaptation to it as well?
They did.
Before we move on, we have to acknowledge that Nerdporio Lifeform is in fact sponsored by Target.
I don't know what you mean.
Just in time for Pride Month.
I don't know what you mean. Not
Okay,
that there's anything wrong with that.
The collection here.
Yes.
You gotta. She brought all of them down from her room.
All 9 of the mangas that I have right now for
That's all anybody has right now.
Yeah.
They've only released the first 9 out of the 10.
They're working on the 10th right now.
Yeah. Anyway, so
So
just show them.
So, the first character that we ever meet is the spy, and his codename is Twilight.
So we'll keep this moving here.
That's Anya, the telepath. That's the assassin, Yor.
Giggity.
That's their dog, Bondman.
Who can tell the future and communicates with the kid.
That's Yor's younger brother, Yuri. He's part of the secret police.
Oh, so it's the KGB family.
Another spy, I think, named Midnight or something. That's Damien Desmond, who Anya's trying to befriend for the mission. Becky Blackbell, who's Anya's best friend. And then my favorite character, Frankie, the one who gives Twilight the information.
Oh,
So
these are out of order. Now they're in order.
That's fine.
There you
So
go.
but Spy Family is an insane amount of fun. We're actually really enjoying going through it because it's got a lot of.
It's on Crunchyroll, right?
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll, and
it's in a lot of languages.
It's just a whole lot of fun because the
second season's coming out soon.
The humor of it is just on point. You know, it's just they hit the characters just fine, you know, or just right. And
I want to say a line.
Okay, go ahead, say a line.
Papa, I want a pistol with a silencer. Sure, honey, if there's one for sale.
She's going to use that line on you someday, and now you have to answer.
I already have.
Yeah, she already has used it, and the answer was no because of that stupid $200 silencer tag. Yeah, there wasn't one for sale too.
I think the only manga series that I ever owned, you know, a complete collection of is and it's still in a box somewhere actually. I have the entire Dragon Ball manga series.
The original or the
really
going into Z or something or
nope, just Dragon Ball, not DBZ, and not
because
all
I
the
think
DBZ
Dragon Ball
spin-offs.
Z was part of Dragon Ball, so you had like the Vegeta arc and the Namek arc.
Dragon Ball is the story of him as a kid, and it's a full story, and then Dragon Ball Z is a time skip. And he's an adult.
Not as much as you'd think, because it ends with him as like he's 18. I think it ends with him as an adult. Like there's like the original Dragon Ball series. You know, there's a lot of time skips. So you had. It's been
in my box it's been in a box for a really long time.
Yeah.
So, maybe I have to go check it out. But here you know what? This is the magic of the internet. We can find.
Yeah, you had the excellent Red Ribbon Army arc. You had the even better King Piccolo arc, and then I think you had the Piccolo Junior tournament arc, that which I think was the final arc. Probably not, but honestly, I prefer the original Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. Now, Dragon Ball Z is badass, awesome. I like Super as well, but I think the original Dragon Ball has a special place in my heart. But the better storytelling, it just I like the storytelling of the original Dragon Ball better. Just like Goku's arc just felt completely earned throughout the series, and you get to see him get better and better and better and better and better as he as the series progresses. I'm sure the manga is the exact same. I think, I don't know, without the filler. There's a lot of filler in Dragon Ball, so. Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, sorry. I just noticed that. Thank you, Mr. Corey, for the super sticker. I'm not sure what the sticker is from here. So, are you guys on the YouTube at all?
Yeah.
What is it?
It is.
And you are right, by the way. That
the rainbow sponsored by Target.
we already did that. We already pulled it up. You are correct. It's apparently been too long, because it's a 16 volume set, and the last few volumes are he's older. You're right. So I do have all of them, because I know that I had at least 15 of them, and I know that at the time, at least, I had the full set.
Yeah.
So I can think of it on my shelf, and like the little numbered volumes. But
just to be quick, just
been a long time. Apparently, yeah. I need to go back and reread them.
Just to be quick, yeah, the mangas that I have right now on my shelf, which are totally not complete at all. The first volume of Monster, a series that I definitely recommend if you want a great series. Very great series, great characters, not the usual anime tropes. Just it's a straight out psychological thriller, totally faithful to its source material, to its manga. Monster, that's a great one. I also have the first volume of Akira, which everybody knows the film, but I have to read. There's a lot more to the source material than just the film. What's funny is the creator of the source material is also the director of the film, so unusual situation. Usually that's never the case, but in the case of Akira, that is. And of course, the one that everybody knows, Berserk. That's the other series that I have. And
all three of those are very adult oriented.
Yes, they're all seinen. They are all seinen genre, which is geared towards adult males, basically.
Yeah, I remember watching Akira in college. My roommate in my freshman year had a box full of anime, which more than half of it was probably that hentai stuff that's really twisted stuff that I wish I could unsee. But
he probably saw Bible Black or something.
I couldn't tell you. I've tried to scrub as much of that from my remembrance as possible. That's probably why I drank enough in college. But I remember watching Akira, and I remember thinking the entire way through that movie, what the hell is going on? And then all of a sudden he explodes, and it's like, what the hell is going on?
Why is he a baby? Why are there like billions of toes and fingers and digitals on him? What's going on?
Right.
Why is the world ending? Why is there? What is this? Why is there another dimension appearing in the middle of Neo Tokyo? You're like, what the fuck?
It still made a hell of a lot more sense than 2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's funny.
I was wondering when
it's funny. It's funny that you should say that, because I might have made an intro to that retrospective, and I might share that at the end of this thing, to poor Nathan's chagrin and everything. But I was hoping to announce that. But hey, that better late than never. So
There we go.
So it's we're about 2 hours. We're close to 2 hours in. It's 11 p.m. my time, and it's midnight their time. So we are going to end this stream right now. It's been a blast talking about. I thought we were just going to be talking about pop culture, but we ended up talking about our more embarrassing moments when we were younger. So that I thought that was a very interesting.
Embarrassing.
Okay, fine. All right, fair enough.
I mean, legend.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, these are
Embarrassing or legendary. I mean, embarrassing.
So, just to oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Wait, say that again so the camera. Fantastic.
Anyway.
There you go, DJ Ronnie.
So he says 2010 made more sense than 2001. Well, I am not here to disagree with you, but I mean,
I wasn't even born in 2010. Born a year later.
Mr.
Still in the womb.
Wow. let's just say Mr. Kubrick had his vision for 2001, and I took a look at the script for 2001, and Jesus Christ, they didn't even have the visuals done by then. So the entire the segment that you probably had the most questions for was not really addressed that much. So. But that I'm going to include what was in that script in my retrospective. So unlike the movie where there's only 20 minutes of dialogue, I'm going to be talking the whole time. So I'm going to try to explain what the movie is to the best of my ability.
Are you going to do? Is it going to be feature length?
Better.
Is it going to be the entire movie just with the Nerdporeal commentary?
I don't know if I'm going to do that because I'm probably going to get hit. So I had to.
Just watermark.
I mean, I tried to use the also Sprach Zarathustra theme with the theme that they use in every commercial nowadays. Mm-hmm. I tried to use the movies version of it. I got hit by a copyright. I tried to upload it, got hit by a copyright, so I had to find a live version of that because it's an older piece. It wasn't made for the movie. It was Richard Strauss back in early 20th century, I believe. So this was something that existed before the movie. So. Luckily, I was able to find something to play, so I can play it here for the part of the outro. So to Nathan's chagrin, but you know what? I'm actually really looking forward to working on this one because there's a lot. I mean, even though the movie doesn't say much, or the movie says a lot, but it doesn't tell you much. That's how I see it. But I first saw it, I didn't like it at first. I fell asleep. There's no dialogue whatsoever. There's little to no dialogue in the first 45 minutes of the movie. Okay. But maybe it's because I like horror, and there's a horror element to 2001.
You're really selling it.
The audio
selling it to new viewers.
The audio of 2001 is so unsettling, especially when you are dealing with the alien aspect of the movie. So the human stuff you hear, like the very the wholesome composer. You hear the Blue Danube theme. You hear the Sunrise, the thus also Sprach Zarathustra theme that you hear in once again every commercial. But then you hear the weird choir. That's how they chose to do the alien stuff, and it's very, when you hear it long enough, I don't know if it's subliminal, but it's very unsettling. And I think that was what drove me to liking the movie as a kid. So yeah, I kept rewatching it. It was on TV, then I rented it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck's going on here? And then when I was in college, I finally figured out what the hell was going on. So, but there were so many things going on, and Salty, that's a myth.
That's fantastic.
Open the pod bay doors, please. I don't know what that means. So, all right. So, all right, fine. Yeah, you guys want to end it? Fine. Sorry. So, all right. So before we even do anything, I want you guys. I'll let you guys So Nathan, you were here first. Do you have anything you want to promote? How's that script going? How's that that alternate Wheel of Time or the alternate adaptation of Wheel of Eye of the World? How's that script going? I know
there will be a parent video on the White Cloaks channel before there is a script review on my channel. We'll put it that way. It's on the shelf for the time being as I deal with some real life things and and just concentrate on joining other people's live streams. So that's what I've got going on. Because speaking of live streams, I'm sure you'll cover that in your update there. Well, both of you actually, Pips and Nerdporeal. So I'll let you guys take that.
Well, I'll plug that I'm actually just making the event for our channel. I think tomorrow we're gonna play the extended edition of the Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers in our Discord. So I'll stream that through the Discord HD. We can watch it, have a good time in the chat. I don't think we're going to do a YouTube stream associated with it. I think we're just going to hang out with people and just talk about the movie, stuff like that. We'll probably just hang out in the chat afterwards and have a good time with Discord members, all that stuff.
What time do you say you're doing this?
It'll probably be tomorrow starting at like our normal time, so 1 p.m. Eastern, and it'll go for, about 3.5 hours. And then we'll just, shoot the shit with whoever is still around and wants to talk about it. So we'll have a good time. And then outside of that, we're doing the Lord of the Rings book club stream, which is going to be coming back next weekend, Saturday, with Amon Manetheren himself and the rest of the White Cloaks. And we'll be talking about the first quarter of, so the first 5-ish chapters of the Return of the King. And between now and then is Dane Bornhald's Eye of the World, autist level breakdown. It's happening. Everything you ever could have possibly wanted to know or didn't want to know about the Eye of the World is going to be revealed. All truths shall be revealed.
So how's this going to be broken up? Do you know?
They're doing 9 sections. I'm not sure the exact chapter breaks. I told them that they should try and do 8 sections just to make clear that you could, in fact, cover the Eye of the World in 8 episodes.
Wow!
But I got.
Well, how long are these episodes going to be?
17 hours. So, just a little different, but I think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be Dane. It's going to be a couple extra members of the Discord. It is not going to feature, at least not as regular guests, Alex and myself. We didn't make the cut. As much as you might be impressed by this horse's memory of the books, I actually don't know the lore well enough to have been one of the permanent panelists. So there you go. That's your benchmark. They have to, all of the people who are going to be on know the books better than Pips.
Is that even possible? I don't think.
It's very possible. Lots of people do that. I'm smart for a horse, but it's grading on a curve. But that'll be the 29th. So that'll be Sunday night, I think, or Monday night. That's right, because
Monday night.
My calendar has already rolled over to the 27th. It foiled me.
All right, it's Monday night. It doesn't conflict with what I'm doing on Sunday. So is that it, Pips? You got anything else you want to?
Well, there's a parent video that'll eventually get dropped, probably at like 1 a.m. on a Tuesday by Alex. Who's watches it. It's gonna get thrown off the back of a truck like it's ballots from 2020.
Once again, the
views of the Pips.
2020, please.
That was a joke. It was a joke, and I thought it was a great joke. So
Oh no, I agree, but it's just once again, you don't know who's listening, and you know how it is. So, all right. Well, Pips, thanks for sharing that. So yeah. So for me, Sunday is going to be Wheel of Time. We're going to be covering chapters 33 through 44 of the Dragon Reborn, and the guest of that day is Gadfly Fiction. So I'm going to have him on, and I'm probably going to need another guest because one of the panelists is not going to be able to make it due to work. So I have to get on that right away. So, but that's the only thing I have. And last thing I wanted to share, and Nathan's going to hate me for this, is I started working on on my retrospective for my next major project, which is 2001: Space Odyssey. So I already made an intro opening, and luckily for me, this one got past all the copyright bots. So I tried 3 times. The third time was the charm because this one got past the copyright bots, and I have it up. I have it up here, and I'm going to end it in the stream with that trailer and then the outro. So once again, everybody, thank you for this. We already hit the 2-hour mark. Thank you for joining us. This stream, just us chilling, talking about whatever, and just having something good to drink. So once again, if you're drinking with us, stay safe and be responsible. Do not drive. Do not if you have to travel somewhere, do not go alone. Make sure that you have someone with you or have a designated driver if you're out. So once again, just stay safe and stay incorporeal. And let's take a look at let's take a look at the intro of my next project.
And
Will
also
it change?
Walk in the Light.
Yeah, Walk in the Light. And Nathan, you have anything you want to add before you suffer some torture?
Tai Sharman, Etherin.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a good night, and hopefully you will enjoy this epic intro.